I'm going to be reacting to Diablo 4's huge controversy with Asmongold. I did watch this before, so that's spoilers, but I definitely have something to say about this topic. So, let it start.
Boys playing Diablo, WASD is a huge controversial topic for the ARPG genre. Some people want it, some purists don't want it in the game even as an option. They say the game's got to keep its roots. There's nobody who thinks that WASD is bad. I don't believe it. Imagine doing this for hours. I don't have to, I did. Now using WASD, okay. I'm just holding the attack button instead of clicking. Paying attention to the cursor. Yep.
So, that right there is something that there are people who do believe this. It's not a lot of people. It's actually probably a very small subsect. A lot of people have the mentality of, I just want to play the game the way I want to play it. Just give me my options, you know. I don't think I would probably play that method, the WASD and the moving. I mean, I could see myself playing it. I just don't think that would be my preferred method of playing it. But I will say one thing: the mouse, just using the mouse to move and aim and attack and all that other crap, it sucks. Watch Path of Exile. There's a reason why they say bind your left mouse button to move only. Why is that? It's simple. When you use that to move and it's attack or some kind of spell or skill, you accidentally hover over an enemy, your guy will literally stop attacking. And imagine if you're trying to run away from a bunch of enemies coming from behind you, especially in late game, where they have the potential to one-shot you, especially in a game like PoE where they're just like, yeah, let's just throw a bunch of shit at the wall and let's see what sticks. And, you know, let's let the players balance test for us for PoE too. That kind of mentality, you tend to die if you don't have that bound to move only, the left click. Because you just stop and attack, and then the enemies catch up to you and kill you. It's simple as that, and that's annoying. My preferred method of playing this ARPGs personally is controller support, you know, to just move around and do everything else, you know, the combat, you know, the moving around. The inventory management, however, I like to use my mouse. I'll say that. And having that's like a perfect hybrid for me. The reason why I don't use, you know, mouse and keyboard, you know, minus the WASD, because some games don't have the WASD for movement in ARPGs, mainly due to my wrists. Sometimes they start hurting and I can't play, you know, because especially in like a new league or season comes out, I like to play, you know, the first couple of days that I do play. Usually it's either the first or second day of the league. I like to play for quite a bit that day. You know, maybe around 8 to 10 hours. Well, I've noticed lately, if I were to play a game like PoE, for example, for 8 to 10 hours, I will run into an issue where my wrists start to hurt. It's not all the time, but it does happen enough to where I try to find a better way to play it for me personally, and that happens to be playing with the controller. Then you have a game like, what do they call it? Path of Exile, again, where the last time I played it, I tried to use controller support, and it worked, but if I wanted to use the mouse, I had to, like restart the game or exit to the main menu. No, that's what it was. I think it was exit to the main menu. I think even log out potentially, and then change the settings that way, and then come back into the game. To, you know, and that just really doesn't work if you're trying to only use your mouse as inventory management. So I'm not sure if they've fixed that or changed that or made that better, but if they haven't, you know, I'm probably not going to touch Path of Exile until I know for sure that is fixed. That's like my only issue with the game right now. I know a lot of people have all these balance issues and all this other stuff. But I usually just play that myself to find out whether I like it or not.
Much more comfortable to play a long session without clicking my mouse movement. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Quick to move games are inferior. They're inferior in every single way. I've never played a game that quick to move was better than WASD. And I think that you should be able to do that. If you want to do that, but I don't think there's anybody who actually thinks WASD movement is bad. Yeah.
I agree. Everything he said here is true. In fact, one of the, what do they call it? Yeah, pretty much every game that I've played, WASD is a better movement scheme than point and click. Now, obviously, some games work really well with point and click. Like, for example, RuneScape is a pretty good example of a good game to play with point and click, but that's like the only option. I don't think there's controller support. I don't think there's WASD support. I think the WASD and the arrow keys just change your camera angle, if I remember correctly. So, overall, that's because there's really no options for that game. And to be honest, that game really doesn't need options. It's not really that intricate of a game. So, that's more of an exception. But pretty much any game I've ever played, if you're having a movement, imagine trying to play, actually it depends on the platforming game. I was going to say, imagine trying to play a platforming game with your mouse and having to click. It would just be really weird. It's like, what are you going to do? Hold your mouse down and go boop, 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 like that? Well, the thing is, the character is going to obviously have to have limitations based on the jump. So if you go like this for the jump, imagine going like this every time you wanted to jump with your character. It would just be really weird and dumb. Why don't you just have WASD and then the space as a jump? And that's way superior than just having everything rely on the mouse. I don't know. There might be exceptions to the rule, but I think for the most part, he's spot on. WASD for movement, space as a jump if the game has any kind of jumping mechanics, and the mouse can be used for certain things, like in an ARPG, to use attacks. I want to be able to use my left button as either a basic attack or a skill, and the right mouse button, the right click, is another form of attack. And if you have a wheel, like I have a little scrolly wheel, I would like to be able to use that as a, if I press it down as a button. Although, to be honest, that tends to wear it out pretty quickly. Also, probably depending on the mouse you use. But I definitely like to use the mouse wheel as a way to scroll between attacks. Depending on the game. ARPGs, it might not work that well. You'll want to have it bound. But maybe having it where I could set like the right skill, like the right click as a scrollable skill, so I could scroll between the skills in there if I really wanted to, or set a multitude of different skills on there. It doesn't have to be every single skill in my what do they call it, my pool that I can use. And let's just say if I have 3 attacks or spells or skills, and I just scroll up and down with the mouse wheel, that would be really nice to just choose between very few attacks that I want to be able to switch, especially if you're playing something like a summoner. Having like a summoner where you got to resummon certain skills. Some of them, you only have to summon every once in a while because they're big and tanky. But like, some of the common ones, just being able to go right and, up and down to scroll between them, that could be really cool. But it's not too hard to just click 1, 2, or whatever other key you have bound for that. But I'll say one thing. Having the options is, like, just give us the options. Play the way you want to. Like, if you really want to go at it, having, just by playing with, like, I'm only going to use the mouse, but you still have the WASD and the mouse as an option, I look at it as like solo self-found in a game like Path of Exile. You choose to play that way. It's obviously inferior. Like, for example, when I play with the controller during gameplay, it is inferior to the mouse. Why is that? Because there are skills that require precision clicking. Well, with the mouse, with the controller, I'm not going to be able to get that precision. That same exact precision. It's like if you were to take off, what do they call it? That auto aim that helps in games like Halo and other first person shooters where you're playing with the controller, where it makes it like you just aim in the general area and it'll act as if you're hitting them where you want to hit them, like in the head or something. So you're still going to be hitting them, but you're actually not actually aimed right where you should be aimed with the controller for a lot of people. If they didn't have that, you'd be missing a lot, but it would probably be more comfortable to play. It's going to be an inferior, way to play. If you're playing on the computer, you're definitely going to want to be using your mouse and keyboard because you're going to be able to. I mean, look at Shroud play. Like if anyone who's seen someone like Shroud play, they're just really quick. They're like pop 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 pop, and their aim is really good. There's a reason why people who are playing FPS games, especially on PC, are using a mouse and keyboard. I'm not sure if consoles have the option to use mouse and keyboard. I don't think they do, but yeah, just use what feels comfortable. Yeah, unless you're like a pro player, like you're like a top tier player, like racing to like world first in a new league or a new season. I don't think you really matters which method you use to play the game. Just give us the options.
There's no way WASD movement is far more satisfying. It's just better. I thought that Diablo 4 has WASD movement. Does it or not? Yeah, only controllers. It doesn't. People have been asking for it. It does not. Well, wait, why? So much smoother gameplay? Yeah, like, why would I ever not want that? Imagine doing this for hours, you're just a little bitch. No, I disagree with this completely. There's a lot of people who don't want to click a mouse button for 2 hours 5 times every second.
I agree with this. And it is a little bit annoying that Diablo 4 does not have that option. I honestly think that should be an option. One of the few games I'm looking forward to this year. I'm looking forward to Diablo 4. I'm looking forward to the Elden Ring expansion, assuming it's coming out this year. But obviously if it takes longer, I'm hoping for more content. Like 2 to 3 new areas potentially. That's what like my hope is for the Elden Ring expansion. So it's Resident Evil 4 that's coming out soon, although I'm probably not going to get it right away. I think it actually might be coming out today even. It's either today or tomorrow. There's a bunch of games that I usually skip, but those are the 3 main ones that I can think of off the top of my head that I'm actually interested in checking out at some point this year. Well, like I said, assuming Elden Ring expansion comes out this year. And I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Diablo 4. I don't know. It's just they should have those options. I don't see why they wouldn't. One of the other things I'm curious about, I haven't played the beta. I usually never play beta for AAA games because usually you have to pay the, what do they call it, for the deluxe edition pre-order or some crap like that, or I'm not sure. Sometimes it's just a pre-order, but I'm like, no, thank you. I'll wait. I'm a patient gamer. I got a big enough backlog as it is, and I'd rather play a Elden Ring again than play a beta for a game, even if it's a game I'm really looking forward to. Like Elden Ring, I didn't play the beta or the play test or whatever the hell they called them for that game either. But one of the things I want Diablo 4, personally, is controller support on PC and to be able to play with the mouse, which if they did it for Diablo 2 Resurrected, I have a feeling they're going to have that same support for Diablo 4. At least I hope. It'd be pretty weird if you have that quality of life feature, being able to, in-game, switch between controller and mouse. Like I beat a bunch of enemies up. Everyone's, pretty much dead now. There's no enemies nearby. And I use the mouse to, it's like, okay, drag, select, move, throw that out here. I don't need that crap. Just get rid of that junk. I don't need it. Being able to do that with the mouse is going to be so much better than trying to inventory manage with the controller. But I just like playing with the controller, personally. Even though it is inferior, I'm going to say that WASD and mouse is, superior due to the precision but it's the way I like playing. Why aren't you playing?
People don't want to do that. It's repetitive motion. They could have carpal tunnel or something like that.
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to do that? I mean, they could be like 43 years old. Like, I mean, fuck. They're not, their hands ain't what they used to be. I think what they should do is they should just add it as an option. And if adding an option for something means that nobody is able to play it the other way, then I think that says something about the other way. Rather than like, oh, let's handicap everybody because we don't want everybody to have to use this quality of life feature. It's just such a cycle.
Yeah, it is a pretty dumb mindset to have. I'm not gonna lie. That is a pretty funny way to pause it on. I'm just gonna say that they should give us the option, and if you really want to have, like how should I put it? The carpal tunnel is a serious issue. I mean, if you want to see what crazy shenanigans, like for example in StarCraft 2, go look at the first person point of view of the personal perspective of Serral, Serral, if I remember correctly, while he's playing a StarCraft 2 match on the ladder. Like, he does stream that occasionally, and I'm sure you can just YouTube it, of Serral's, like, the way he plays. Heck, even Raynor. You just go with Raynor. Actually, that one I'm not sure. I think it's Renor on that for that one. He's another professional StarCraft 2 player. Go look at their screens while they're playing StarCraft 2 on a ladder. Is it any wonder why these guys got to take really good care of their wrists? I don't want carpal tunnel. Like, anytime that, like, when I'm playing a game and I'm doing stuff, anytime my wrists start to hurt, I nope the F out of there. Why? Because I'm listening to my body. My body says, don't do that. That is hurting me. And I'm like, okay, I will stop doing that. And I think that's a pretty good, healthy mindset to have, especially if you're just playing games for fun. Like, if you're like, you're not a professional player. You're not like, Raynor or Serral, where, your income is dependent on how good you do in like these tournaments. But to be honest, you probably have a good what do they call it? Not a mindset. Well, yeah, mindset would be there too, but like a good schedule. Like, hey, okay, I got to do these wrist exercises. I got to do this and that, and this should help keep my wrists in good enough shape to be able to play this. With minimizing the risk of having to require something like carpal tunnel. Like, if you look at StarCraft 1, I believe, there's a lot of StarCraft 1 pro, what do they call it, pro players who've had to have surgery in their early 20s because of all the crap that they had to do with, playing StarCraft 1. It's ridiculous. So, yeah. Give people the option so they can play the game they want to and hopefully reduce the risk of something like carpal tunnel happening to them. If they're playing the mouse and just the mouse and all that stuff, or, Path of Exile, we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or had. I'm not sure if they've changed it. I know they tried to fix it. I'm not sure if they actually succeeded. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on for the flask, which I thought was stupid. Like, they basically turned our characters into potion addicts. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just constantly. They're like on steroids or some shit. So, yeah. Honestly, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I really, really do want to see more options for as many games as possible. That makes sense, I don't even, for example, they probably would have to recode the whole game, but I would not mind seeing a StarCraft 2 port to the consoles at some point in the future that dumbs it down a bit, but gives gamers that are on the other platforms, like, Xbox, assuming that the deal goes through, where they can play with the controller. Because one of the ways I got into the RTS game is honestly on the PlayStation 1 with Command & Conquer Red Alert, and you only way you could play that I know of at the time was on a controller. It was Red Alert, Red Alert Retaliation. They had another game, it was just Command and Conquer, where I thought if you entered a code, you could play as Godzilla, because it was like a Godzilla code. Turns out it just made everyone speak Japanese. So, I think it was Japanese. So, yeah, just give us the options and let the players decide how they want to play the game. That's it. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.